Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. I am so happy you're here. Welcome to another weekly reading vlog. This week I let you blindly decide on my Instagram story what books I'm gonna read. I put up 3 different polls on my Instagram story yesterday to let you pick my reads. I blurred the covers and put some emojis on them that I felt like were a pretty good representation of each book. And the first poll I put up were For the School for Good and Evil and Murder at the Bookstore. And Murder at the Bookstore won with 52% of the votes. So that's what we're gonna read. I'm very excited. I've read quite a lot of fantasy in the past few days, so this will be a great palate cleanser, and I haven't read a murder mystery in a while. So that's very exciting. This follows Jen, who's a crime writer, but she's currently struggling with a writer's block. So she decides to go back to her small hometown and she kind of finds sanctuary in her local bookstore. So she just spends her days there hoping to find some inspiration, but one day the bookstore's owner turns up dead and there's evidence that she was at the scene of the crime when it happened. And it turns out she was left as the new owner of this bookstore in the old owner's will. So she is now the prime suspect and is trying to find out what happened and who the killer actually is. It sounds very cozy and right up my alley, so I'm excited to start this. It's currently Tuesday night. It's 6:30, so I'm off work and I don't have any plans for the rest of the night. So I think I'm gonna film a read with me for 1 hour video and start reading Murder at the Bookstore. And I'm just gonna have a cozy night in. That sounds like the perfect plan right now. I'm on page 118 of Murder at the Bookstore, and I'm not really enjoying it. First of all, there's no murder at the bookstore. The bookstore's owner doesn't get killed in a bookstore, so I don't get the title. I feel like the synopsis is also kind of misleading because it pretty much says that Jen is a prime suspect in this case, but she isn't. She does get questioned by the police, but just because she knew the victim. Nobody suspects her of the murder. I also somehow thought that the bookstore's owner would be this old woman, but she was in her 30s, I think, and every sign leads to her husband being the killer, but that would be very obvious. But I'm pretty sure I know who actually did it, and if I'm right, it will be very disappointing because it is very obvious. And what also confuses me is that it says that she returns to her hometown, but reading this, it feels like she doesn't know this town at all, like she just moved there. So I don't really get that. And the writing is all over the place. There's so many random info dumps that don't add anything to the story. She just drops these random facts that I don't care about. Like she, for example, constantly talks about her ex that doesn't have anything to do with the story or her life right now. So why would you add that? And I also don't like our main character Jen. She is so rude to people and just really judgy and makes so many dumb choices. And Jen is a writer and we get some glimpses into the book she's writing and it's so bad. Like, I get why she's struggling with a writer's block because nobody would want to read that. And it's also kind of strange because she met the bookstore's owner like a couple of months before she was killed. And obviously you're allowed to grieve, but the grief that is described is not really believable. At some points, she seems like she doesn't care at all that her friend was killed, and at other times, it seems like it destroyed her whole life because a person that she's known for like a couple of weeks is not there anymore. So it's very inconsistent, and there are constantly new characters that appear out of the blue, and it reads like you're supposed to know who they are, but you obviously don't. And related to the random info dumps, there's also a lot of talk about her abusive mom and stepfather, and that whole thing does sound very intense. Like, apparently she had a really bad childhood, but she randomly drops infos about that in between doing other things. So all in all, it's just all over the place and kind of strange. The beginning of this was definitely very promising, and I do like the setting in this small town, but it will definitely not be a new favorite, and I doubt that I will continue the series after finishing this book. But I mean, I only have like 200 pages left, so I'm definitely gonna finish this and then hopefully move on to a better book. I just got back from my doctor's office because I got some blood drawn yesterday and my heart checked, so I had to go there again to discuss the results, but everything looked good. I just took a quick shower and now I'm ready to chill for the rest of the night. I did finish my book while I was waiting at my doctor's office. I'm gonna rate it 2 stars. I didn't hate it, and it definitely was a quick read. It was so obvious who the killer was, and like I've already mentioned, the main character Jen was so self-centered and obnoxious. She was so rude to people and thought that everything was about her, and she also made so many dumb choices. Like, she found this note on her car that said that she is supposed to be at this place at that time and that she wasn't allowed to involve the police, and like no person in their right mind would actually go there without any protection, any backup, without calling the police, but she did, and she almost got killed, obviously. So it was just very frustrating reading about the amount of bad decisions she made. And she didn't even solve the mystery. Like, she didn't find out who the killer was until he admitted it. So I'm definitely not gonna continue this series, even though I had really high hopes for it, but we're just gonna close this chapter and not talk about it ever again. But it's only like 7 p.m., so I have the whole night ahead of me. And we're gonna start a new book. The second poll I put up was this one, and the one on the left was For Mate by Ali Hazelwood, and the one on the right was The Phoenix Keeper by S.A. McLean, and The Phoenix Keeper won with 55% of the votes. So we're gonna read this book. They're both on my November TBR, so I'm gonna read them either way this month. But I am really excited to pick this up because this has been on my shelf for so long. This is a Illumicrate edition, and I somehow never read any of those books. That's why I canceled my subscription a while ago. But they're so stunning. Like, and the premise of this also sounds very cool. This follows Ayla, who just landed her dream job as the head keeper of phoenixes in this magical zoo, but the program for phoenixes is kind of failing, so she's trying to save it, and in order to do that, she has to work with her old college nemesis, Luciana, I think, who's the head griffin keeper. So it's kind of an enemies or at least dislike to lovers, and it's a sapphic romance, and I haven't read one of those in a while, so I'm very excited. I'm excited to read about all of those different magical creatures. I feel like having a magical zoo in a book is such a unique concept. I think I've never heard about that. So I am very excited to start this. I'm gonna film a video where I read for an hour straight for Instagram and TikTok now. So I'm gonna start it while doing that, and I'm gonna read for an hour, and then I will update you on my thoughts about this. in like 2 days, but it's currently Saturday night. I should be leaving for my heels class right now, but I was out all day. I just got back like half an hour ago and I'm so exhausted, so I'm not gonna go today. I'm gonna take a hot shower in a minute, put some comfy clothes on, make myself a hot chocolate, and then sit down to read because I'm just so tired. But I went pottery picnicking with my boyfriend last night and we had so much fun. I haven't done that in years, but our pieces turned out so ugly. I'm still excited to see them when they're done, when we can pick them up, but I really underestimated the time we had to paint them because I was in such a rush to finish it, and I had so many inspo pics and so many ideas in my head, and none of them turned out how I imagined. So yeah, but we still had a fun date night, so that's what counts in the end. And then today I met up with two friends and we went to this, it's kind of like Costco, but for like decorations and like kitchen stuff. Like only business owners can go there, but one of my friend's mom has a cart to go there, so that's how we got to go, and we've been wanting to do that for years, so I'm glad I finally got to go, and it was so much fun. They had all of their Christmas stuff out and I'm in a pretty big Christmas mood now. It's November 1st and usually I decorate very early for Christmas, but I'm loving my fall decor so much that I don't want to put it away just yet. So I'm gonna wait a couple more days, and I still have to get some Christmas stuff because I don't have a lot of Christmas decorations. I'm gonna give you a quick haul of the things I got. I don't know if you care because this is technically a reading vlog. I haven't done a lot of lifestyle-ish stuff in this vlog, but I'm obsessed with everything I got. I got some things for myself, but I'm also making an advent calendar for my boyfriend and my mom this year, so I also got some things for that. I'm pretty sure that they're not watching this video, so I'm just gonna show you everything. Like myself, my mom loves everything DIY-ish, so I got her this little modeling kit. You can make a ornament out of, I'm assuming it's like kind of like clay, and it's this little reindeer. And I thought this would be really cute and fun to put in her calendar. I also got two other sets kind of similar to that a couple of days ago. I'm also going to show you those. These are not Christmas themed, but she's been obsessed with making candles, so I got her this candle making set, and those colors are so pretty. I thought about getting one for myself, but I have so many hobby stuff that I've collected. I should do those first before getting more stuff. And then I also got her this dried flower soap kit, which is really pretty as well. I'm thinking about doing a December reset at the end of the month where I decorate for Christmas, pick my monthly TBR, and maybe I'm also gonna pack up the advent calendars and show you what I put into them. I'm not sure if that would be interesting to anybody, but that's what I've been thinking about doing. Then I got two cookie cutters, one for myself. I got this bow. I thought it was so cute. And then I also got one for my mom, this little butterfly. She has a butterfly tattoo and really likes butterflies, so I thought this was fitting. I also got her, she doesn't drink a lot of alcohol, but that kind of reminded me of her, and I love the packaging. It's like a white chocolate liquor with like vanilla and coconut in it. I'm not sure, but I thought it was really cute. And then for my boyfriend's advent calendar, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that he got me quite a lot of Jellycats. And I sent him this one as like a joke, and he said like, I'm gonna give you the money, please get it. But I saw his message only like an hour after we saw those. But just before checking out, there was one of them sitting near the register, and I thought that was a sign for me to get him one for his advent calendar. It's this, it's so silly, but I thought it was really cute. It's this Christmas burger. It has little feet and a Santa hat, and it's just a burger. And then I also got him a body lotion because he loves mango everything, and this honestly smelled so good. It's just a mango body lotion. I thought about getting one for myself, but I didn't. But maybe he's gonna share. They also had so many ornaments, but I do own quite a lot and I only have a tiny Christmas tree, so I had to hold myself back, but I had to get this one. My friend said that this was me in an ornament, so I got this little cowboy boot with flowers on it. It really reminds me of Taylor Swift. I'm obsessed with it and I just had to get it. This is turning out way longer than I planned, but if you know me, you know I'm obsessed with mugs and I can't stop collecting them. Every single time I get a new mug, I tell myself I'm gonna stop buying them because I don't have any space. Like, my cabinets are completely full. Like, I can't fit any more mugs in there. But I had to get this one because I love Christmas, I love bows, and this... I came back for it like 5 times because I couldn't decide because I don't need any more mugs, but it's so pretty. And it's also pink on the inside. I just had to get it. And then I got 2 pillows and then that was it. But I got this pillow with a Christmas tree and some stars for my reading corner. And then I also got this red bow pillow for my bed. But I still have to get some Christmas bedding. But I haven't found one that I like yet. But the ones I own right now, I have the fall one I've currently on, but that doesn't really fit my Christmas vibe. And then I only have pink bedding that also doesn't match. So I have to find one I like. But that's it for my haul. I'm gonna take a quick shower and settle in to my reading corner and read some more of The Phoenix Keeper. I had some vegan dino nuggets for dinner and I just made myself a hot chocolate. I'm wearing matching PJs and I'm gonna sit down and read some more of my book now. I haven't talked to you about this book since I started it, but I'm now on chapter 16, so page 199. So I'm almost halfway through. I'm enjoying it. I do really like the setting of this book. I love reading about the zoo and all of its magical animals. There's also a lot of social commentary about zoos and how they contribute to keeping endangered species alive, because obviously we wouldn't have zoos in a perfect world, but we don't live in a perfect world, so it's so important to have these people that keep the animals that are still left of a specific species alive and help them and give them the best life possible. So I do really like that part of the story, and I also really enjoy reading about Layla's mental health issues. She's been struggling with social anxiety her whole life and I can relate to that a lot. I've highlighted quite a few quotes because that's just exactly how I feel. So all in all, I'm enjoying it, but obviously I knew that this was a cozy fantasy and it wouldn't be a fantasy with high stakes or just like high fantasy, but it's kind of boring. There's nothing happening. It's definitely more character driven, but I wish we would get some more plot. Maybe I'm just not the biggest fan of character driven books, but I'm really bored. And I'm also a little confused because, like I said, I'm almost halfway through the book and this is marketed as a sapphic romance and there hasn't happened anything in that regard. Like, we know who the love interest is, but so far in this book they've talked to each other like once and still very much dislike each other. So I don't know when that's gonna happen because we only have like 200 pages left in this book. So I'm a little worried that that part of the story is gonna be very rushed. And what I also really like about the story is the representation in this. Of course, because of Ayla's mental health, but she's also bisexual and her best friend Tanya is a trans woman. I feel like Tanya is probably my favorite character in this. I do like Ayla, but sometimes she's a little self-centered. And reading about her thoughts sometimes feels like that she's only thinking about her own problems and isn't really aware that other people have problems as well. Like, even if they're not struggling with anxiety or social anxiety, their life isn't perfect. And that doesn't really come through, that she gets that. But hopefully we're gonna get some romance. in this soon, and maybe something's gonna happen to make it a little less boring. It's definitely a very good book, and I think it's also S.A. McLean's debut novel, which is really cool, and considering that it is really good. But maybe I'm just more in a mood to read some high fantasy instead of a cozy, character-driven novel right now. But it's only about 7 p.m. so we have a few hours left tonight, so I'm gonna try to read as much as I can of this. It's 10 p.m. I've been tired for hours, but I couldn't stop reading. I just finished The Phoenix Keeper, and I do have to take back a lot of the things I said earlier because I did end up enjoying this a lot. I'm gonna rate it 4 stars. Going into this, you definitely have to keep in mind that it's very low stakes and pretty slow paced. There's not that much happening. This is definitely more focused on Ayla and her struggles with her mental health and also her character development. I complained about her being self-centered earlier, and she definitely was, but Tanya, her best friend, pointed that out, and she really took that to heart and thought about how her actions impacted the people around her and really worked on getting better with that, so I did really appreciate that. I definitely was right with my prediction that the romance plot would be very rushed, considering that it only started at around the 70% mark of the book. I wish I would have been a bigger part of this book because I did really enjoy reading about it. Especially at the end of this book, I just felt so proud of Ayla for standing up for herself and being fine with the way that she is. Just accepting the fact that she has social anxiety and it's not what other people would consider normal in social circumstances. In general, this book definitely had a very warm and cozy atmosphere, and it's just a feel-good book. I feel like most fantasy books are very dark and brutal, and while that is also fun to read about, I realized that it doesn't always have to be that way, that a low-stakes cozy fantasy can also be very good. I also loved S.A. McLean's writing style. This being her debut novel is blowing my mind. She's also so creative, like coming up with all of these different animals. Like some of them were based on real animals and she just added some magical touches to them, and there were also like unicorns and dragons, like all of the animals we know from other stories, but this was still so creative. I really enjoyed this, but like I said, I've been so tired for hours, so I'm definitely gonna go to bed now. But I did post a 3rd poll on my Instagram story, so we're gonna read another book in this video, but I'm gonna talk more about that tomorrow morning. Happy Sunday. I had a really slow morning. I just took an everything shower and did some self-care, so I'm feeling great right now. But I did put up a 3rd poll on my Instagram story, and I chose romance books for that poll so that we had a good variety of genres for this video. And the 2 books I chose for this poll were Backboard or Steel by Sarah Adams and King of Sloth by Anna Huang. And it kind of surprised me, but Backboard or Steel won with 56% of the votes. So this is the final book we're going to read in this video. I have already started this morning, but I'm only like 30 pages into it, and it's definitely a very quick read so far. I've read the first book in the series a while ago and I did enjoy both of them. I know that a lot of people didn't like the first 2 books in the series. I feel like you either loved or hated them, but I did really like them, so I was excited to finally pick this up. This follows Emily, who's a 2nd grade teacher and just this type A person. She has to have her whole life organized and has to be in control of everything, but her old college nemesis Jack. We have a lot of college nemesis. Is that the plural? whatever in this video. But Jack ends up moving right next door to Emily, so he's now her new neighbor, and he just recently broke off an engagement. That's why he moved back to this small town, and they're both teachers, and they're also both secretly authors. She just writes romance books for fun, and he's a crime writer, I think, that is selling his books under a pen name. But when Emily accidentally sends part of her book to her school's principal, she has to get Jack's help because she doesn't want her secret identity revealed to the school. So he helps her with that and they become friends. So far, I'm enjoying it. I still really like the small town setting that we also had in the previous books. I do have to say Emily is a very exhausting character, especially when it comes to Jack. I mean, that's an opinion that most people have, I think, but having an enemy in a romance book is just, it doesn't really make any sense. Sure, they don't like each other, but they're not enemies. And she makes him seem like he's this villain that wants to destroy her life, but it's not that deep. But she constantly mentions that she's also kind of relieved that he broke off his engagement and is back in town. So I'm assuming that she's aware that she kind of has a crush on him and did miss him while he was away. Calling them enemies is very exaggerated, but I do already like the banter between them. When they're like characters on the cover, why do they look like siblings so often? Like, they have the exact same features. That was also in another romance book I read recently. I'm not sure what it was. I don't know. That kind of gives me the ick. But it's fine. It's just an illustration. But my boyfriend's gonna come over soon and we're gonna watch some reality TV and order some pizza and just have a cozy day in because it's been pouring rain all day. But hopefully I will get some reading done later today. I'm on chapter 18 of Backboard Steel, so a little over halfway through. And I feel like I've been so negative about all of the books in this video, but I'm also not sure if I'm loving this. I do really love Jack, our MMC, but I'm not the biggest fan of Emily. And I also feel like the hate between the two of them was definitely very forced. They have no reason to hate each other. We have a dual POV in this book, so we know that they both liked each other for a long time. And I'm now at the point where they're finally friends and talk to each other about their past and about their thoughts and all of that stuff. And I am enjoying it a lot more now, but it took me a long time to get into the story just because of that forced hate. It was very exhausting reading about that, especially from Emily's point of view. I'm not sure if they're both just really stubborn and didn't want to admit that they don't hate each other, but they've been bickering for like 15 years. So that seems like a long time to hate each other without having a real reason. It was definitely a lot of miscommunication, but even that was not that bad to fight over the span of a decade. So, but like I said, I am enjoying it a lot more now. I switched to the audiobook of this today because I'm gonna leave for my jazz class now. It's Monday night. And I want to keep listening to it. I just finished reading Backboard Over Steel and I'm gonna rate it 3.75 stars. I think a big problem is that I went into this with high expectations because I was obsessed with the first two books in the series, but this one just didn't live up to the first two books for me. And Emily just wasn't my favorite character. She is definitely a very complex character and I could relate to her a lot, but I just didn't love her. But on the other hand, I was obsessed with Jack. Even though he's blonde, he is one of my favorite book boyfriends now. I don't know how many times I've said that because I forget about characters as soon as I put a book down. But I really, really loved him. He said so many cute things and went through so much himself while also being there for Emily. I mean, Emily also did, don't get me wrong, but I really, really love him. And I also loved being back in Rome and seeing all of the characters from the previous books getting together. And there's definitely, I mean, a lot of the characters in the series are family, but there's still a big found family trope in this series. I did enjoy it in the end, but since it took me quite a long time to get into it, I'm still only gonna rate it 3.75. I mean, it's still a good rating, but it wasn't my favorite. We weren't off to a good start with pretty much all of the books, but at least The Phoenix Keeper and Backboard War Steel turned out being pretty good in the end. I really hope that we'll find some better reads in my next video, because I fear that reading books that I don't enjoy that much puts me in a reading slump, and we don't want that here. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!